Hey there, Psycho, heard the news. There's a new podcast made just for you. So if you like Psych and pineapples too, then I know you know what to do. Come on down to Santa Barbara town and get ready for Psyched.
Hello, and welcome to Psyched, a podcast where we discuss all things Psych, the hit USA TV show. From hidden pineapples to crazy nicknames, come on, son, and join the fun. If you are a fan of delicious flavor and have heard it both ways, this is for you. I'm Keaton, your host, also known as Sean Gus Psych on Instagram, link in the description. I started watching a few seasons in, live on TV, and since then, I've seen every episode at least twice. Today, we're talking about Who You Gonna Call, Season 1, Episode 7. Here's what happened. From psychusa.fandom.com, PsychWiki. In 1985, Sean hops over his fence and runs into his house. Henry asks him what is wrong, and Sean replies that he is running from Ryan Brickhouse, a classmate. Ryan is pacing around outside, waiting to face off against Sean. Sean admits to Henry that he threw a rock at Ryan and almost hit him. Henry tells Sean that he needs to come up with a better solution than running and hiding, and makes him come out of the house. Sean reaches a compromise with Ryan, letting him know he can help him ace the math test, as the teacher has an answer system that Sean has memorized. Henry hears this and calls Sean's teacher. In the present day, Gus shows up to the psych office and sees an attractive female receptionist sitting in the front. Sean explains that this is their new assistant, Dagmar, who they got from a temp agency. Sean explains that she thinks this is a runway gig and that she is actually a model. Dr. Blinn, a Santa Barbara psychiatrist, has been murdered in his office. Sean and Gus show up at the crime scene and are promptly removed by Lassiter, but not before Sean gets a quick look around, noticing blunt force trauma to the head, the weapon, and a chewed toothpick next to the body. Back at the psych office, Sean wants to take the day off, saying that the beach is calling. Just then, a disturbed man, Robert Dunn, walks in asking for help. He claims that he's being haunted and that the ghost is trying to kill him. He has strangulation marks on his neck to prove it. Sean believes the guy is crazy, but Gus is intrigued. It turns out that Gus recently secretly spoke to a spirit as a child, though Sean later reveals that he hid a walkie-talkie in the wall to freak Gus out. Sean reluctantly signs on for the case, which he believes will be easy because there are no such things as ghosts. He plans to find out who's doing this to him and have a fake exorcism. At Robert's house, Sean sees long red hair on some paintings and photos with Robert's face X'd out. The place is a mess. Robert asks them to stay the night. He tells him that he hasn't been able to sleep and he's going crazy. Sean believes that he has already solved the case. Clearly, Robert's ex-girlfriend is mad, trying to drive him crazy. From the pictures, Sean knows that he has dated a redhead, and the mess and the defaced photos, show that she's clearly not around anymore. He plans to talk to the girlfriend tomorrow. They wake up in the night to find the house on fire, forcing him to reconsider his conclusions. The following morning, after the fire, Sean realizes Gus has lipstick mark on his forehead. Someone was there, but all windows and doors were locked, and there were no signs of break-ins. Meanwhile, Lassiter and Juliet are looking for Regina Kane, Dr. Blinn's last scheduled patient before he was killed. They have tracked down a post office box for her, but have found little else. Sean and Gus come across them, and Sean notices that they are holding a medical file with Regina's name on it. He now knows where the police are looking. Back on the case, Sean drags Gus up to San Francisco to see Robert's ex-girlfriend. She tells them she and Robert broke up because a friend of hers saw him out one night with another girl. He pretended that he didn't know the friend and called himself Martin Brody. Sean notices she's wearing an engagement ring, indicating that she hasn't thought about it and thought about Robert in a while. Based on this, and on the fact that her lips don't match the ones on Gus's forehead, Sean concludes that she isn't the ghost. The two guys are sitting in their car outside the psych office after a long drive back when their car is nearly hit. The driver crashes and runs away. Gus smells alcohol in the abandoned car, but Sean notices another chewed toothpick on the floor mat, showing that this wasn't an accident. They go back to find Robert, but he's not around. A message has been scribbled in paint on a mirror. "Help me, I'm trapped." Sean and Gus follow the paint drops outside and find a ladder leading to the attic. In the attic, they find a room filled with women's clothes, including large shoes and a red wig. Sean realizes that Robert has been haunting himself, unaware that he has a split personality. Sean finds a date book showing an appointment with Dr. Blinn on the day of his murder and realizes this is Regina Kane the police have been looking for. They manage to access Robert's female personality by talking to Regina. They realize that Regina isn't violent, so there must be a third personality. She tells them that she was seeing Dr. Blinn, but refuses to tell them why, and claims that she has no idea who killed him. They go to the police to let them know that they found Regina King. At the station, they see her patient file, which reveals an appointment for gender reassignment surgery. They realize that the third personality, Martin Brody, probably killed the doctor to protect himself. Sean remembers that Regina has an appointment scheduled with another doctor right now. Sean, Gus, Lester, and Juliet rush in, stop Martin, and save the doctor. Both cases are solved, and Robert is placed in therapy. Back at the psych office, the guys have another receptionist, a male model. Sean deems this unacceptable and fires the guy over a text message. And that is what happens. Likes and dislikes. So for dislikes, Henry has a number for Sean's math teacher just on the top of his head. I know he's a cop. You can probably look it up. But that's a little weird. Sorry. I just dropped something. Okay. So, I don't know why they added this in, but the stupid secretaries or whatever they're called, that was pointless and weird to add to the episode. I did not like that at all. Especially when they didn't even work. Like the one lady didn't answer her phone, didn't do any filing, couldn't speak English. Stupid. And then the doctor that Gus mentions at the beginning, this is a like and dislike. Because it's weird he didn't call Sean. But it did make the plot work better this way for Robert. Because Robert then was the main dude instead of the doctor. So they had to find out why Robert... they did go to the crime scene eventually, but it kind of worked out. So Robert was the center of attention. That they had to find out who was haunting Robert instead of, who killed this doctor? And it was like the main focus. I like that Robert was the main focus. And I feel like Gus not calling Sean, even though they checked it out, led to Robert being the main focus instead of the doctor. Didn't like that. So the episode title I disliked, Who You Gonna Call? Because I know this is only season 1, but if we flash forward to I think season 7 or 8 or 6, one of those, Here's Lassie is another episode, and it involves haunting. So Lassie thinks that someone's haunting his new apartment, right? And so he asked Sean and Gus to help investigate. So Sean and Gus show up looking like Ghostbusters. The movie Ghostbusters and what they wear in that movie. The few movies that they have. It's also a pop reference. Because who you're going to call is what they say in the movie Ghostbusters. Because who you're going to call the Ghostbusters. So they show up looking like Ghostbusters. So the episode title, Who You Gonna Call, and they don't show up looking like Ghostbusters, but they do in Here's Lassie. It's kind of confusing, but Who You Gonna Call? It's about ghosts, haunting, so I mean, it fits, but then it doesn't fit. It fits better elsewhere, basically. Okay, and then when Robert comes in, the first scene, when he's all stressed and worried, Sean and Gus texting the whole time. That was just stupid. I didn't like that. Some of my likes. So Regina King having a crush on Gus. That just made it better. That you're a special friend and whatever. And then I have some quotes. Lassie, am I clear? Sean, like butter. Lassie, do not knock. Jules, there's no door. So those are my two of my favorite quotes in this episode. And then I loved Robert's whole story. And then Juliet believing in Sean, like being very excited. Like when he has a vision, she's like so excited about it. She wants to know what he's seeing and wants to be so involved. And it's just really cute. And then, of course, gotta bring it back to Sean haunting Gus when they were kids with him pretending to be a ghost named Wilting Flower. That was another like for sure. For sure. And I think those are all the likes I did and dislikes I have. I've heard it both ways. This is a segment where you talk about plot holes. So, of course, the biggest plot hole I thought was Lassie trying to save his marriage. There's a few episodes in this season where he's like, I've been doing so much to try to save this marriage and everything, yet the first episode, the pilot, he's dating his old partner. That doesn't sound like saving the marriage to me. So, I mean, yeah, poor Lassie. Another plot hole. Sean recognized Robert's ex's lips so fast right when she opens the door, but doesn't even think about Robert. Like, maybe Robert's, he is the one haunting himself, but he could have just been making it up, and maybe he kissed Gus for attention. That could be another story. So why wouldn't he have noticed Robert's lips? Because he doesn't believe in ghosts. He doesn't want to take this case because he knows ghosts aren't real. So he could have thought that Robert was doing something to get attention, or there was something with Robert, which, it does. He is haunting himself at the end. But I feel like he would have recognized Robert's lips and then gone into, like, what is Robert doing and why does he want this attention? Like, it's strange. And those are all the plot holes I have, for sure. 2 big ones. I know, you know. So, of course, there's not many people in this episode. There's the ex-girlfriend, the doctor, Robert. That's basically it. So I looked him up. I didn't recognize him from anything, but I did notice Robert, who's played by Frank Whaley, he guest stars in a few different versions of Law & Order over the years. That's one thing I noticed, but I've never seen that show, but I've heard it's really good. So if you want to see Robert, he's hidden in somewhere in Law & Order, doing some Law & Order stuff. So there's that. That's all I got. If you know anyone else and want me to, shout someone out, maybe I should check out a show, pretty cool show, you can comment below, or you can, post on my Instagram, link in the description. Let's get to the next segment. Are you a fan of delicious flavor? Every week on Instagram, I ask people to tell me where the pineapple is in a specific episode. The fastest person to reply and be correct gets a shout out here. This week, I even put it up twice, and on Facebook groups, because USA did make a Facebook page, like the USA TV network, made a Psych Facebook page. I will link that in my description if you're interested in that. So I asked around, and no one replied. So maybe this is a hard one. So I didn't look it up, because I didn't know either. And again, psychshow.fandom.com said the pineapple is in Robert's house. There's a pizza on the coffee table that has pineapple as a topping. So, Robert is a fan of delicious flavor, for sure. And if you didn't know, if they had a pineapple in every episode, at least one, sometimes there's multiple. You gotta search for them. And funny thing, I just found out. So, for the second Psych movie that came out in July, it came out on NBC's new streaming platform called Peacock. And the free version has every Psych episode and the 2 movies on it. So you don't have to pay to see Psych. You can just download Peacock, sign up for the free subscription that won't charge you after a certain number of days, because I have it. And you can watch Psych. You don't have to have the DVDs. You don't have to have Prime, which I also watch it on Prime too. And they took it off Netflix a long time ago. And also on Peacock, they do clips. They have a thing called Pineapple Psych or something. And they have a mashup of clips of where the pineapple is in each episode. Like every episode. It's super cool. So you should go check that out. I know it's not on everyone's TV, but there is an app. And I'm not sure what else. Maybe they're developing it more to be available on every TV. Who knows? Because it's been since July 2020, so not too old. So there's the pineapple. And also, one more thing. So going back to the spelling bee, I got a message the other day. So I screenshotted it, so I don't have the full username. So I got a message. So it's nothing that isn't ... and then it's cut off, and I have no idea. But it's a Psych fan page on Instagram. And I asked them where the pineapple was, because no one was responding to my Facebook or my Instagram story about where the pineapple was. So I said, hey, quick, where's the pineapple in the spelling bee? On Mother's dress in the behind the stage, I think. What? ? It's on one of the contestants' mom's dresses. I said, I don't think so. I just checked the interweb, and that's what it said, too. It's on the dress. Where are you getting your info? At psychpineapple.com. Which is very interesting. Haha. Then I said, haha, they kind of look like pineapples. But James Jordan and Steve Franks actually pointed it out in the behind the scenes on the DVD. Sean is eating it while building the doghouse. And then they said, oops. And I said, that's funny. Never thought of that. So if you watch, when they go to the comfort room and interview people, one of the moms is wearing a dress that looks like he has pineapples on it. I'm sure it's more like palm tree kind of thing. Because sometimes Henry wears like a Hawaiian shirt that kind of looks like pineapple. Or there's an episode, the tennis episode, whatever that one's called. The girl paints her nails and has a palm tree on the nail, and I thought that was the pineapple. So maybe they want to trick you, or it's just trying to make it look like Santa Barbara, which has palm trees. So there's that. I thought that was pretty funny. Just to add. So there you go. Those are all my pineapple things for this week. Moving on. Pop references. So this is seriesandtv.com. These are quotes. Sean, I've been sent here by the spirit of Pete Rose. Laster, Pete Rose isn't dead. Sean, I got that from Poltergeist, or Poltergeist 2. Gremlins. No, it wasn't Gremlins. Sean, we wanted to call it Le Pete Lever. Can't say that. But apparently, the art snobs in France think they have a monopoly of all things Lever. We also tried Lever 2, Lever Jr., and Night Gallery. Nothing cleared. Girl, he said his name was, get this, Martin Brody. Sean, Rory Schneider's character from Jaws. Girl, yes, how'd you know? Sean, I've seen Jaws. Sean, the flying nun in the other thing, the TV movie. Gus, Smokey and the Bandit. Sean, yes, dude, Smokey and the Bandit, yes. What does it have to do with multiple personalities? Gus, you asked. Sean, I asked a real question. You should have given me a real answer, not a random guess. Gus, okay, fine, Hooper. Sean, Hooper. Gus, Hooper. Sean, Hooper was a stunt man. I don't even think Sally Field was in Hooper. Who are you thinking of? Gus, you know. Sean, Terry Bradshaw. Gus, yes, is it Norma Ray? Sean, no, but that would have made the movie way cooler. So I've never actually seen any of these movies or any of these references that they're talking about. I just thought it was so funny because Sean like made it seem like Gus was being stupid, and so it was just humorous, very humorous in the last dialogue. And also, I think Pete Rose is a baseball player. If I had to think, because there's actually an episode of How I Met Your Mother. So the main character of How I Met Your Mother, Ted Mosby, he's an architect. He works for like a firm or whatever. And the head of the firm has a Pete Rose signed baseball. And there's a whole episode about that baseball. So I'm pretty sure he's a baseball player. I don't know. So, those are the pop references. And also Jaws. They mentioned Jaws. There's another episode later on that also references Jaws in a bigger way. If you can name that episode, I'll shout you out in the next podcast episode. And I think before we go, because this is our last segment, I just want to take a second to read the multiple personality disorder from Google and web. I don't know what actually this website is. Front page of Google. So, dissociative identity disorder, also known as multiple personality disorder, is a mental disorder when a patient has two or more personalities. Rare. Fewer than 200,000 cases per year in the U.S. So treatment from medical professional advised. So symptoms are presence of two or more completely different personalities, memory variations, depression, drug abuse, eating disorders, hallucinations, anxiety, sleep disorders, panic attacks, suicidal tendencies, mood swings. So the causes, they're not clearly known, but possible factors include post-traumatic events, persistent neglect of a child, sexual abuse, physical abuse, child labor. So there's no known prevention method, complications, substance abuse, suicidal tendencies, self-harm, lawlessness, diagnosis. So it's a different diagnosis. Treatment. Primary treatment is long-term psychotherapy and medication. There is no specific medication to treat the condition, but the drugs are used to treat episodes of depression, anxiety, and psychosis. I thought that was super cool. So nutrition, this also has much other stuff. So foods to eat. Cereals like oats improve mental functioning. Products rich in omega-3 fatty acids such as fish, red meat, sugary and highly processed foods. Does not mention pineapple. So maybe Robert's doing something wrong. Or maybe pineapple does have a lot of sugar and vitamins. Because it also said foods with vitamins like sweet potatoes improve mental health. Oh, foods to avoid. Foods to avoid is red meat and sugary processed foods. Yeah, I read that wrong. To avoid the steak and the sugar, basically. So, and there's a bunch of stuff on drugs and therapy going in deep. But I thought it was pretty cool how this episode introduced that. And it totally seemed like Robert had some of these symptoms. I mean, obviously, besides, like, the 3 personalities, he had, like, anxiety and much other stuff. And I just thought it was super cool how they added that in, you know. Got us knowledgeable. Maybe we'll meet someone one day. Which is crazy. Because flash forward to season 6. Sean interrupted. Sean and Gus meet another person who has this. So Sean in this episode mentions it's rare, which it is. I just looked it up. And like one person out of the millions in Santa Barbara, or however many people live there, have it. But there's actually 2 in Santa Barbara that have it. We'll get into that later in season 6. But that is one of my favorite episodes, Sean Interrupted, of the whole series. So it's super cool that this one and that one have a connection. And it's just, I find that really cool that the writers included this and gave, like, light to this. And, like, I don't know. I thought it was super interesting to learn about. Super cool that, like, now I know what it is. Like, that's super cool. But, like, I had a laugh while learning about it. I didn't have to sit in school and, you know, take a test. I watched a Psych episode and I learned some stuff. Like, that's super cool. So, that's all I gotta say. Last thing. So, I hope you love this episode. I hope you love learning with me. Learning with Sean and Gus. I hope you're gonna eat some pineapple later. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.